Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we are talking about Facebook because if we have a contentious election here in the United States, Facebook is going to restrict everybody, and this news just broke today, and here's what's going on. Now, Facebook will restrict, and I quote, the circulation of content if the 2020 election ends in chaos, and this is according to the Financial Times that broke the story today, talking to Nick Clegg, who is Facebook's head of global affairs. Clegg also went on to say that they are prepared to limit what is shared if this year's election devolves into civic unrest. Facebook has also formulated plans for different possible election outcomes, including unrest, as I mentioned, or, and I quote, the political dilemmas of having in-person ballots counted quicker than mail-in ballots, again, according to Clegg. Now, what they're talking about is the blue shift. Essentially, a lot of conservatives and Republicans are going to be voting on November 3rd because they are not as concerned about the coronavirus, but there's going to be a lot of Democrats or liberals that are going to be using mail-in ballots to go ahead and cast their vote. Those are oftentimes counted after the actual in-person votes have been counted, and so it may initially look like President Trump is winning the election or states or whatever that is, but as the votes become counted and tabulated and then verified and certified, it may end up having Joe Biden as the winner of the election, and that's what they're talking about. Now, if you recall, President Trump himself has actually been fueling claims that mail-in voting opens up the election to fraud, which would obviously cause some voters to doubt the election right out of the gate. If you recall, in 2016, before he was actually elected, and that was a shock to most of the world, he had also claimed that election was rigged and was preparing for some kind of battle, and here we are. Obviously, this is now exacerbated by the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Now, both sides are very motivated to either stop the nomination and ratification of a new justice of the Supreme Court, or obviously the other side wants to get it through. So we have these both sides here. It is going to be a very contentious thing. Facebook is gearing up for this. Now, Facebook earlier this month, and I reported on this, announced that they would ban political advertisements the week ahead of the November 3rd election in an attempt to prevent misinformation from spreading. Obviously, they got a lot of flack from both the Republican and the Democrat side for this because that is the final stretch for both of those campaigns to advertise the bejesus out of everybody, and Facebook is cutting them off. This move is one of a series, though, that Facebook has said they're taking to, and I quote, secure the integrity of this year's election. Facebook is also committed to removing posts that allege people can develop the coronavirus by voting, which apparently is a thing, and also add information labels to posts attempting to delegitimize voting or election results. So if you are saying that, oh, President Biden won or President Trump won, and you are calling that fake news when it is demonstrably true that one of those two individuals won, they're going to slap an information label, please read more on this, click here, kind of thing. The company also plans to flag associated posts if a candidate claims victory before the official results are released, and will direct users to the correct content. They are using Reuters for that, and so as Reuters basically pulls in all of the voter data information, and then every Secretary of State in all 50 states ratifies the election, which does not usually happen on election night. A lot of people don't realize that, is that what you're seeing are the projections of winning, that they are being calculated to the point of, well, this person has a 5-point margin of victory, mail-in voting is 2% in the state or something like that, therefore there's no way the mail-ins are going to catch up with that. There are maybe some states that are called in that manner, but there's going to be a lot of states that the news services simply cannot call because there's going to be a mass influx, and they'll know, I think, because the voter totals will be down. Perfect example, if you have 10 million people on average that vote in your state, and that is obviously a pretty populous state, let's think California or Illinois or New York, and 5 million people actually vote that day, then on average, you're expecting to count 5 million ballots after the polls close, and there's no way you're getting that done that night. This is what we're talking about here. And so I think this is a very serious issue. I'm curious to know what you think about this. I think when it comes to fake news, we are so far behind, and Facebook only now in the last month is beginning to react that I don't even know if this is going to make a dent. I think we are so far divided in many different ways, and I urge everybody to go read the report that hiddentribes.us put out. They have this great report on essentially the exhausted majority. Something like 75% of us are just tired of the people that are screaming on the extreme left and the extreme extreme right and all of that. And here I am stuck in the middle with you. But I urge everybody there, that's hiddentribes.us, go check that out. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because this could potentially be a game changer, and it might even change how we interact with Facebook. People may see Facebook as a massive censorship engine and simply leave the platform by virtue of this. And maybe that's something that they are becoming, or maybe that is an overreaction. You tell me. I'd be very curious to hear your thoughts. But that is your news of the day. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe and stay online. And please, no civil unrest in this election. Please. Thanks, everyone.